Quick disclosure, just wanted to say that I understand that the movie is already out, and this was recorded prior to being dropped on Netflix or in theaters. And I just wanted to make this video to highlight issues of casting choices and portrayal of black characters in American media. Let me know what you guys think in the comments after watching the video, and appreciate y'all. Peace. Within the last decade, we've witnessed the rise in social awareness and pseudo-awakening of those who aim to break free of the mold. Due to the rapid evolution of technology, which allows any and everyone with the means to own a device with connection to the World Wide Web. People all over the world have now the means to voice their points of view to the masses, without having their perspective remain in a fixed atmosphere. In favor of those deemed as the dominant group, the marginalized have now the outlet to be acknowledged for their existence, specifically those in the black community and African diaspora. Can we truly say that black people are now acknowledged? In the light of news that actress Zazie Beetz will be portraying Stagecoach Mary in the upcoming Netflix film The Harder They Fall, the questionable choices by casting directors in Hollywood have resurfaced, resparking debate in blurred circles about the familiar trends of whitewashing, colorism, appropriation, favoritism, and erasure throughout the media in American history. Zazie Beetz taking on the role of a black American figure, Stagecoach Mary, is the latest in a repetitive cycle plaguing Hollywood when it comes to the portrayal of traditionally black characters in fiction and non-fiction. Mary Fields, aka Black Mary, aka Stagecoach Mary, a dark-skinned 6', 200-pound black woman, will be portrayed by a lighter-skinned 5'6", 130 to 40-pound biracial woman. Often in auditions, casting directors will choose the best actor with the resonating acting chops for the role represented. Now, I'm sure Zazie's acting capabilities superseded many who answered the roll call, and she may likely kill it in her portrayal of Mary in the film. The issue here is not with Zazie's acting, it's with the visual representation of a real person who existed with evidence of her visage and description. Mary Fields was an imposing woman in her time. At her height and weight, she would be considered a heavyweight in boxing today. I doubt Zazie would even be considered a lightweight, let alone looked upon as imposing to the average man. Then there's the elephant in the room, a light brown woman to represent the visage of a deep dark brown woman. To make matters slightly worse, the lighter brown woman, Zazie, is half black, the product of a white German parent and a black American parent, highlighting the innate colorist and bias that is often perpetuated in the case of black representation, specifically with black women. Now, before we get to the nitty-gritty of the issue of colorism and whitewashing in Hollywood, let's address something real quick. Lighter-skinned black people are not mixed. An example of this is Amanda Seales, a lighter-skinned black woman with two black parents. Also, being mixed does not automatically mean the end result will be an offspring with lighter complexion. There are mixed individuals who are just as brown as the average black person. For instance, Barack Obama is biracial, but can pass visually as a black man. Another example is Logic, also biracial, but can visually pass as a white man. Then there are those who look racially ambiguous like Zendaya. We should also take heed on these terms like biracial and mixed, because often they are brought up when referring to those who are associated with the black community, where the term biracial is often used in light of people who are half white and black, when it also includes those who are half black and Asian, and also half Asian and white. Now let's get on with the original topic. Often in casting choices for black roles, not much care is taken into detail in description of the character in question. More so often when it comes to the portrayal of black women throughout Hollywood history. For decades, the skin tone of a black person gave an undertone for the traits that said character would possess. Inevitably, for leading roles, darker skinned women have rarely been the ideal, and often it will go to a woman who was lighter. In the case that those in power can help it, directors would cast a biracial woman but present her as black, in a way setting the standard for what in Hollywood is acceptable visage of black women on the screen. Low-key stating that said black woman has to be considered attractive to the majority or have a hint of caucasity in their genes. We've often seen this with fictional black heroines who are traditionally darker skinned as well, like Storm, twice portrayed on this big screen by biracial actresses, Halle Berry and Alexandra Shipp. Also on the CW, Vixen, another traditionally dark brown heroine, being portrayed by biracial actress Macy Richardson Sellers, going as far as lightening the portrayal of Mary Fields over decades of film. Starting out with a fairly accurate black woman in Esther Rolle, and as the years went by, her portrayal became lighter, 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 and lighter. This is something that is not new to fans of black characters in fiction and fantasy works. As we've seen in recent years, so-called pro artists on social media would lighten the skin of characters who traditionally were drawn to have darker skin. Then there's the total erasure of black characters in film. The most recent example of this came with the New Mutants, completely doing a palette swap of two black Latino characters, Sunspot and Cecilia Reyes, with the director not taking heed into or caring about their racial identity being an important factor for their character development. Even the director of The Harder They Fall went as far as to address the uproar over casting of Black Mary, making a statement like, "I would point out that the real Rufus Buck died at 18 years old and was fair-skinned," he continued. "The real Cherokee Bill was a cross between Native American and black. He had white in him, he could pass as white. We see he doesn't look anything like Lakeith. The real Nat Love didn't know Stagecoach Mary. The real Stagecoach Mary didn't know Cherokee Bill. The real Cherokee Bill didn't know Rufus. It's a fictional story. I wanted everyone to do for years, bring up images of these people and go, look, here's the real thing," he said. "Here's the real person. We existed." First of all, grammar is fucked up, but anyway, let's continue. While he's correct about the history of these individuals, it doesn't change the fact that his film is misrepresenting them in their likeness. It further validates the complaining he says people are doing about his casting choices in the film. For instance, making a mixed individual like Cherokee Bill a black person in his fictional story is wrong. It's just about as wrong as making the Lone Ranger a white man when it's based on the first black US Marshal, Bass Reeves. As much as he would like, most people are never going to do the research about the characters in his fictional story. I'm sure a few history nerds like myself saw the names of these characters like Rufus Buck and immediately thought of the infamous Rufus Buck gang, a bunch of outlaws and murderers comprising of African and Native American teenagers. Yeah, you heard correctly. A gang of 5 ruthless teenagers who died viciously after years of being on a spree of murder, crime, and rape. They never grew to see adulthood, nor was there a female in the gang. Yet, in this movie, they are portrayed as unisex gang of black adults. 85% of the population is not going to look up the Rufus Buck gang after watching this fictional story. But you know what will happen? One day, one of those 85%ers will just happen to get a history lesson. Then think of this fictional story and be like, wait, I thought so-and-so was light-skinned or 30 years old or black. Do you see where I'm going here? Acting ability is not in question here. What is though, is the fact that people seem to discard the importance of accuracy for visual representation of the source. I'm sure there were no shortage of tall, heavy-set, dark-skinned black actresses with the acting chops to portray Mary. And it's not all on the casting directors, it's on us as well. If the black community continues to accept poor representation of black historical figures and traditionally black characters, then the circus will continue. Once you give them an inch, they will take the opportunity to take 10 miles. It's way past being enough, man. And time we take the helm of our own portrayals and stop depending on others to acknowledge or value our existence. More so expect those among us to be on point when all they care about is, it's a fictional story, bro. Who cares? Or, you'll have cornballs who are so attracted to an actress that they forget they don't look like the character they're supposed to portray. Creating your own projects isn't easy, but it's better than consistently accepting hand-me-downs, low blows, and blatant disrespect. What are your thoughts on this matter? Is Zazie Beetz in the wrong for taking this role? Is Holly Weird to blame? Should fictional stories alter accuracy for the sake of fun? Or is the fault on the Blur community for accepting garbage portrayals throughout the years? Sound off in the comments and be respectful of others' opinions. After all, if we tear each other down for their mistakes, it'll serve no purpose in the long run. Drop a like for your boy and check out other content on the channel after subscribing. You know the vibes. It's Kaizoku Sleven. Appreciate you.